Hi all, Nat here, welcome back to Black Dog Fitness. So I've been away for 5 or 6 weeks now, and it's all been down to one life-changing day. Wednesday the 22nd of July. It was just another day, another morning. I hadn't long been up. I was just drinking my coffee. I get a notification at about 7:37. I always get a notification when someone in the family posts on Facebook. It was my brother. He usually posts, silly videos as young lads do. He's 25, so the usual rave videos or rubbish YouTube songs. So I wasn't in a rush to check it out. I finished drinking my coffee, opened up Facebook to have a look what was going on. I read the first paragraph of his status and yeah, my heart just sank. I read it, I quickly skimmed through, reading to the end, just skimming over, thinking that it was just an ill-informed prank. I got to the end and I realised it wasn't a prank. It was a well thought out. It was a suicide note. I tried to call him 3 times. His phone was just going straight to voicemail. I commented on his post, telling him just to answer his phone. I phoned my mum to see if she knew what was going on. She said that someone had told her about the status. She was at work, so she was going to be leaving and going home as soon as possible. As quick as I could, I got myself together, locked the house up, ran to my mum's. Usually I'd have my car, but Chris's car was actually in for an MOT, so he was using mine, so I had to run down to my mum's. Luckily it's less than 2 miles. I turned the corner into my mum's street, and my stomach was just in knots. There was a police car already pulled up. There were actually 2 police officers on the doorstep talking to my other brother. He had no clue, they'd just woken him up, he had no clue what was going on, so I went over and they'd had a call for the concern for his welfare. So I gave them his contact number, address details, place of work, picture of him, anything that I thought would help. I kept trying to phone his work to see if they were still expecting him in today, or had he booked the day off, and what was going on, where should he be at this time. They didn't open until 9, so I couldn't get through to anyone. Not long after, we were actually able to pinpoint his location through an app on his phone, so police car stayed with us. One went to that location, one went to his workplace. It felt like the longest hour of my life. I was standing on my mum's drive with my mum and my other brother. The police were sitting in their car waiting, and I was just thinking to myself, what am I going to say to him when the police bring him back here? What can I say? I mean, as someone who battles anxiety and depression and who's been on antidepressants in the past, I was hoping that maybe I could help him find his feet and tell him that it's not going to be easy, you're not going to feel yourself for the while, but in the long run it'll be worth it. I mean, lockdown was starting to ease up a bit now, so he could go back to seeing friends. The gyms were reopening in a couple of days, so he enjoyed doing that, so he could go back to that. I was just planning this little speech of what I'd say to him. At 9:02, the police, they got out of their car and they walked over to us, and they asked, if we could go inside. And even then, as I walked through my mum's front door, I was telling myself that, maybe he'd hurt himself, maybe he'd tried, I don't know, jump off a bridge, or he tried to do something and he'd hurt himself, but he was okay. And little did I know that the next few words were going to change our life forever. We walk into the front room, and the police, he just says, there's no easy way to say this, And I think I've played that line 1,000 times over in my head. You know, it's what, 7 words? And it makes your whole life just crumble. You don't realise actually how much words can hurt until something like that happens. And yeah, I didn't want to believe it. I mean, it was shock. I was asking them, you know, is it definitely him? Are you sure? They said, yeah, they'd identified him. He'd also left a note with my mum's address on and things like that. So yeah, they gave us some more details, and then yeah, they had to leave us to it to obviously inform everyone else. It was strange for the rest of that day because it hurt so much, but at the same time, it didn't feel real. I mean, I was busy trying to let everyone know. I remember I went back out the front because I needed some fresh air, and my mate came round to see me, and the postman actually came. He gave me the letters for the house, and the first one was a parcel for my brother. It started to sink in a bit more in the days that followed, but I couldn't get my head around it. We'd been speaking the days before, and on the Monday he was wishing me a happy first wedding anniversary. Tuesday, making plans for him to come to mine to pick up a PC that I was building for him. It's just, so hard to understand that he was feeling like that. And in his notes said he'd been feeling like that for a very long time. And he'd actually considered it originally a few months ago, but talked himself out of it. So to not know what was going on for so long, I mean, it's going to sound so cliche, but he was literally the last person that I'd expect to lose to suicide. I mean, his nickname was Mr. Motivator. He was always so positive and inspiring, and he always saw the good in everyone. Even, people that had let him down, he still tried to see that they're good points, and, he believed in giving people second chances. He'd found Buddhism as well. He had a lot of sayings like, our fingerprints never leave the souls of that which they touch, which is something that, has resonated with me quite a lot, because it's not just, obviously, you can do good for someone and you can make them happy, but it's also all the little things that you might not do. Everything you do leaves a mark on someone. So it just, it's weird how something happens and you see things differently to how you saw them before. Another one of his sayings that he liked, 1,000 candles can be lit from the flame of one candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness can be spread without diminishing that of yourself. And he was always being big on being the candle that lights 1,000 other candles. I mean, even his bio on Facebook read, "Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited by what could go right." So yeah, you put it all together and you just see him as a person, and you wouldn't expect that. You'd only have to put like a sad face or a slightly negative sounding Facebook post, and he'd message you, "Oh, what's up? I saw your post. I saw," just trying to pick you up. Always there to jump to your aid, and that extended to anyone, whether he'd known you years, whether he'd just met you at a bus stop. He was just always trying to help and inspire other people. I mean, his GoFundMe actually raised over £5,000, so it just shows how much of a legacy he actually left behind. I mean, for me, up until this point, I hadn't lost anyone close to me. I mean, I'm someone who's dreading the day that I have to say goodbye to my dog Tess. I actually had a big fear of losing my nan a few years ago. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's what actually made us pull our wedding forward. So we got married a lot earlier than planned, because I just wanted to make sure that everyone that I cared about would be there on the day. I always expected my siblings to be there when it was time to say goodbye to grandparents and parents. So to lose, a younger brother, it just made it even harder to take. I mean, the manner of his death also takes its toll. Losing anyone in any way is going to be tough, but suicide just raises more questions and feelings of guilt. I mean, could I have done more? Why didn't he talk to me? How did I not know that he felt that bad? Should I have seen? Did I miss things? I've been through all of our conversations, Facebook, WhatsApp, text message, going back to 2007 and even older. Just, was there something I missed? Just trying to find a reason as to why. And why then, You keep looking for an answer as to why, and I felt like a detective in the week or so afterwards, trying to find out where he'd been the night before, what had happened, where he did it, just trying to put it all together like a puzzle, just to try and get an image in my mind. When I went to the viewing, I kept telling myself there was just this part of me that was saying, you're gonna get there, and it's not gonna be him. But it was. It's 5 weeks after his death and 2 weeks since his funeral. It still doesn't feel any easier to accept. I know obviously it's going to be a long and slow process before anything feels normal again. All I know is that I'd give anything to go back in time just to be able to talk to him just that one more time. It's made me realise how much we take for granted now with technology, how easy it is to just drop someone a message, Facebook, social media, text message, WhatsApp, but that's not really staying in touch. It's so easy to hide things and pretend that you're okay, because I guess that's kind of what you expect. I mean, if you text someone, how are you, for example, you're expecting a response back saying, I'm good, you, or I'm okay, thanks, or something along those lines. I think a lot of people, if they actually got a text back saying, well, actually, I'm feeling really bad, I don't think a lot of people would know what to do in that situation. So I think, as a whole, it's just easier to just say, yep, I'm okay, thanks, you, and divert that back to someone else. In an actual one-to-one, or even, a group chat when you're out or you're at someone's house, I think that's something completely different. So naturally everything's just been out the window for the past 5 weeks. I ate a load of convenience and comfort food. I didn't have the motivation or energy to cook. I didn't really have any appetite, but I was just eating things, like I say, out of comfort because I wanted something nice. Ordered takeaways, ate a load of chocolates, alcohol. Everything kind of went a bit sideways. Training came to a standstill, so obviously before this I was doing 4 or 5 runs and 4 or 5 weight sessions a week. That stopped. Everything seemed to stop really, apart from time. Everything else stood still. It was almost a month since my last treadmill run. I decided to get on the treadmill, try for 5 miles. I made it to mile 3, and where my treadmill is, you can see out the window. A police car pulled up outside, and that was it. I had an anxiety attack because I was just expecting more bad news to come. I mean, it turned out they wanted the neighbours not here, but it was just a mental thing, you know, it just caught me off guard. I did manage 5 miles Monday this week. They did feel tough though. I did my first weight session on the Tuesday. That was pretty bad. I did drop the weight down, but not enough as I should have. I still tried to jump in a bit too high, I think, and I wasn't really feeling it. Like I said, the diet hadn't been on point either. Just lack of self-care and preparation. So I called that quits after 25 minutes there. It feels like a slow rebuilding process, and I can be quite impatient anyway. So kind of having to go back and redo things that, you know, I'd already done. It can be a bit frustrating, but yeah. The London Marathon, that is going ahead in October for elites only. So for us regular Joes, we'll have the option to defer. Now I thought because obviously London Marathon is usually April, so I thought that it would be April 2021, but it's not. The next one's actually October 2021 or April 2022. So I'm hoping to make the October 2021 date as long as they've got spaces. I wasn't going to take part in the virtual run because I didn't think I'd be ready anymore. Obviously I did get to that point, and then, like I say, it's all dropped off a cliff. But then I found out that even though it's not actually an event, it's still going to class as the 40th London Marathon. Now the main reason for me wanting to do it this year was for that limited edition commemorative 40th medal. So yeah, I decided I was still going to give it a go. They have said that you can just do the distance in the 24 hours, so you don't have to do it all in one go. You can break it up. So that's a lot less pressure there. I mean, obviously, like I said, I haven't been training, so I won't be going for a time or anything like that. So I figured of doing it at a local park and doing laps with different people. So I think around the outside the perimeter is around a mile. So I figured if I could to get different people to run, walk, or just walk certain miles with me, just sort of got a bit of encouragement and support, and it'll be nice, you know, to get some other people involved in it as well. Hopefully I'll be able to get some footage on the day, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's I don't really have any goals at the minute. It's just a case of easing myself back into training, trying to get my mileage back up, trying to get into a routine, because yeah, at the minute nothing's routine. I'm starting back tracking what I eat again this week. That's been a bit of a shock to the system after, like I say, 5 weeks of drinking and binge eating. But yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up now. Just meant to be a quick update. I'm hoping to go back to uploading at least once a week, but bear with me because, like I say, things are so up and down at the minute. But I'll do my best to see what I can do there. Okay, so this is going to sound like the end of a soap, but if you've been affected by obviously losing someone to suicide, or you've got suicidal thoughts, or you're just having a bad time at the moment and you need someone to listen, I'm going to link down below a link to the Samaritans website, and they're a mental health charity. They've got a suicide helpline number as well. The Kaleidoscope group, they've got counselling services and online chat options if you prefer not to speak on the phone. And I'll also have a link to Mind, the mental health charity, there as well. So please, if you are going through a difficult time, or you just need to talk to someone, please, you know, get in touch with them and see what they can do. As well, you know, make that doctor's appointment and get some advice, or maybe a referral if you want one-to-one or group counselling sessions. But otherwise, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.